Good evening, everybody. So my topic is food, real food, shaping not just your body, but a whole lot more than that. And I'm going to take you first into my own personal story and why I've ended up on this stage today. So my story dates back just over 2 decades. It was a while ago. And it was because my life changed, my whole life changed with one comment that was made by someone close in my family. And he said to me that I was getting a little bit chubby, that I'd gained a little bit of weight. So what do? You need to lose weight. And I'm a 13-year-old girl, right? And so I'm thinking, I need to lose weight, so it means I need to eat less, and I need to start exercising, right? That's what you do when you want to lose weight, right? Wrong. We'll get into that later. But anyway, so initially, I became a vegetarian. I'm not saying that's wrong, okay? The vegetarians out there, I'm not saying that's wrong. But that's what I did, because meat equals fat, right? Wrong, but that's what I thought then. So I cut out meat, I started eating less, and I started to exercise more, like 6 times a day, and obsessively. So eventually my eating less became even less, and I was anorexic, which means you're eating very little, right? So anorexic originally, and then what happens when you're starving? You want to eat. So that's what I did. Then I ate everything, absolutely everything that came in my way. But that was going to make me fat. So what did I do? Puked it out. I vomited everything. Now, that must have gone on for a couple of years. And it was awful. It was a really bad time because I was in despair. I hated myself. I was angry. I was moody. I was awful. I mean, I was an asshole, really, class A asshole. And suicidal, too. It was all of the bad stuff all together. It's a big, nasty soup. So it took quite a few years for me to figure things out. But it was at the age of 23 where I ended up in hospital for something or other. And I was getting my blood taken. The nurse went and observed my blood, came back, and she said, listen, kid, you have 2 choices. Okay, either you can go home and eat a steak, or we can start doing blood transfusions. And I was like, all right, I'm going to start with cold cuts. So it took me a while before I started to eat steak for breakfast like I do now. But sure enough, I did start eating meat. So again, I'm not saying that vegetarianism is bad. For me, it's not good, period. Vodka. So, that's my story up until 23. And now, 12 years later, it's actually only been in the last 2.5 years that I've learned what healthy really is. So now we get into what is real food, okay? So we're going to play a game, all right? And what I want you to do, guys, I'm going to pull out something out of my bag, all right? And you're going to say, I'm going to ask you if it's real, and you're going to say yes or no. That's all, okay? We're not going to get into this too much. But before I even do that, I need to tell you something. I need to tell you what real food actually is to me, okay? And maybe to you too. Think about it. So if it used to breathe, or if it grew from the earth, it's real, right? Again, if it used to breathe, or if it grew from the earth, eat it, okay? So we're going to start. Bear with me, okay? So, is it real? Is it real? Louder. Yes, thank you. So that's going to go in that pile. Next one. Remember, did it grow from the earth or did it breathe? Is it real? Thank you. Got that in a health food shop. Thank you very much. Next. Let's go on to, you can't quite see them, but strawberries. Sure. Right? So we'll put those over there. And now listen, you gotta bear with me, okay? I need you to use your imagination on this one. Can you please? Steak, a juicy steak. This little kravichka, don't worry about it. No stuffed animal rights business here, okay? She's been well taken care of. She's got a lot of love. So we'll put her in this pile, right? Little kravichka. Dobre. So, And my last item, that. Thank you. You guys are perfect. That's the no pile. Actually, there is one more. There is one more. I lied. Som hlamarka. Dobre. That is water. Sure? Yeah? Excellent. You guys are fantastic. You win. You win. Okay, so we've got two piles here. We've got the real food pile, and we've got the fake food pile. But do you know what? This is what the most of what we're eating consistently, rather than that. Okay, and this is where we go into. We're going to go into nutrients and energy. So this food over here is rich in energy, but not in nutrients. There's a whole lot of jack shit right there. Okay? You're not getting a lot from it. It's not doing you any favors. This over here, steak, not little cute kravichka. The cauliflower, the strawberries, you've got iron, you've got magnesium, you've got zinc, antioxidants, you name it. There's lots of good stuff there for you, okay? So the problem is in today's society, actually all over the world, is that we're facing a global obesity epidemic, right? And what is obesity? Obesity, for the sake of simplicity today, I've only got 15 minutes, for the sake of simplicity, obesity is fat times a lot. Okay? Easy peasy. So we're in a state of obesity right now, all over the world, okay? And it's because we're eating, again, a lot more of that consistently than this, okay? So these are carbohydrates, actually. I need to explain this to you because I get a lot of questions from people, from clients about carbohydrates. They say, I don't eat any bad carbs, whatever, and they don't, at the same time, know what good carbs are. These are good carbs right here. Not the kravichka, you get protein and fat, okay? But these guys right here, those are good carbs. These, all bad carbs. But they're carbohydrates, okay? So there are good and there are bad. We're eating mostly bad, a lot of bad. Okay, and particularly when you eat stuff like that, okay, it's sugar. It's sugar going into your body. Sugar is a silent killer. I don't know if you've heard that before. If you're trying to lose weight, you want to get healthy, I am going to tell you to cut it out. Okay, it's really, really bad shit. It is. All right. Now there's a hormone called insulin. I'm not going to go into science, okay? Don't make me do that. I don't have enough time anyways. But basically, insulin is the hormone that promotes fat storage, all right? And so we're facing this big, massive globesity, actually, all right? There's a term out there that does define that. And it's because of sugar. It's because of insulin. If I can tell you one thing, okay, and I want you to remember this, if you can, that insulin does promote fat storage. Gary Taubes, in his book, Why We Get Fat, says this very, very simply, that carbohydrates, those ones, drive insulin, your fat storage hormone, which promotes fat gain. Vodka, period. Remember that, okay? And it's Charles Poliquin, who I got the pleasure of studying under a few months ago, who takes hormones a little bit further, okay? He says that where you store your fat is indicative of hormonal imbalances, okay? So ladies, if you're like me, and you tend to store a little bit of junk in the trunk, okay? If you've got the junk in the trunk going on, it's estrogen. It's your hormone called estrogen that's slightly out of whack, or a lot, okay? Gentlemen, you got a belly that you're trying to lose and been trying to lose it forever, that's due to your cortisol, stress hormone, okay? Simple. Now, you might think, Manj, but you're all holistic and like embrace who and what you are, right? Exactly as you are, but you know, so big deal with fat. I'm fat and I love it, right? Wrong. Because for one reason, toxins, it is in your best interest to lose fat, okay? Just one reason. There's many of them. You store toxins, bad stuff, in your fat. The more fat you have, the more chances you have of getting sick. Do we want to get sick? No, I don't, right? So that's why toxins, that's why fat, it's in your best interest to lose it. But going a step further, we'll talk about disease. Last week, I emailed my father, and I knew what the answer was going to be, but I emailed him and I said, Dad, when you were 35 years old, my age, How many people did you know who were sick or who died of some sort of disease, cancer, whatever, you name it? And he emailed me back and he said, none. Love you. That was it. And that's exactly what I thought. But guys, how many people do you know under the age of, say, let's say 50? All right, that's still young. That is still young. Let's say, oh, that sounded bad. Under the age of 50, how many people do you know who are sick? I know 8, half of whom have or have had a brain tumor. Okay? That, and it's food. It is absolutely, absolutely food. Why wouldn't it be? And if that's a foreign thought to you, what you eat is what you are. No? Would that not make sense? So we, of these few people, the ones that don't have the brain tumors, I've asked them, are you, what does your doctor say and whatnot? And, doctors don't know what's going on. And I asked them, my first question after that one is, what are you eating? What did you have for breakfast yesterday? Oh, I skipped breakfast, right? And it's common. Not one of these people that I've spoken to that has these big problems that doctors don't know about, not one of them is eating clean, whole and real foods, right? So we can help ourselves out a lot by making this shift in our diet. Now, look, I'm not knocking doctors, okay? Doctors are fantastic. They're doing lots out there for us. They saved my life a couple of weeks ago. I ended up in hospital because I was doing a water fast, and I drank 7 liters of water. And it was stupid, for certain. But who shows up to emergency with this? A page and a half worth of notes. And I could tell them exactly what was going on in that day. I didn't do it on a whim. I did it very purposefully. And basically, I showed up there knowing exactly what was going on. So they were able to help me pretty quickly, right? So what I'm saying is, right there, help doctors help you. Help them help us, okay? Because we need to know our bodies. We need to take more onus for ourselves, right? And that's where we've gotten really lazy, and we just go to the doctors and expect them to know everything, and then we blame them for not. Help them help us, right? So how do we do this? How do we actually do this? I'll tell you what, we need a revolution. And I'm not saying go to the Oreo factory and blow it up, or go to the local grocery store and start bombing. I'm not saying that. I'm saying we need a revolution. Okay, we need a quiet revolution that starts in your head. All right, something that's really, really slow. Because getting healthy, we've been eating shit for so many years. It's going to take a long time to undo that, right? So, a quiet revolution. We've got Jamie Oliver, who's one of my modern day heroes. The man is amazing. Who's out there and he's fighting for our children, right? Not for their mental and physical well-being, right? He's out there fighting for us, fighting for them. Again, let's help the man. Let's help him help us, right? And then you can start making slow and small changes. All I want you to do, listen, I don't want you to go home and chuck all this stuff out, okay? But I want you to start to think. Think about what you're eating and how it's impacting you. What's it doing to you? Keep a food diary. It's really, 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 it takes a while. It will take a while. But to get healthy is going to take you effort, okay? It's not going to happen overnight. Now, my next step is to visit Mr. Jan Stalinsky. You may have heard of him, who's an eco-farmer, local, another hero, all right? And he produces organic fruits and vegetables, and what he wants to do is teach us how to do that too. Guys, and it's cheap. You go to the grocery stores, and it's expensive to buy organic food. The more of us who want it, the cheaper it'll get, but this man's willing to teach us, okay? And we're in a good position here in Slovakia for that. So let's help him help us again. Okay, and this brings me to my close with the theme of this year's TED being 359 degrees, right? Now I'm going to take you a degree further. Over the past 22 years, I've fought and I've struggled. I hated myself. Like I said, I was in despair, suicidal, the whole 9 yards, right? And it's taken a long time to get to today. But here I am, and I want to take you a degree further, full circle, 360 degrees with me because I've come to peace with who and what I am, right? And I attribute it to food. I absolutely do. You know, yes, I've got a positive mindset for certain, but even that's because of food. So you guys, it's food and a whole lot of love. And it starts here. So you've got to walk away loving yourself, okay? Treat yourselves like gold, like absolute gold. Feed yourselves well and see what happens to you. All right, so the message again is to feed your brain, feed your body, feed your brain, and then feed your soul. And your dreams will too come true. Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you.